rubrics look like in Canvas, because I've been grading you guys on rubrics. These are part of the instructor assessment tools, right? So rubrics, including how do you link them, how do you create them, how do you link them to outcomes, and then how do you attach them to assessments. We're also going to talk about outcomes. Are outcomes something that you guys use, like a way that you assess students? No, not really.
Well,
do you have a set of them that you're supposed to?
We use rubrics in classes, but not outcomes.
we have in tests, like, that's why, other learning management systems didn't really support outcomes.
Okay.
But I think, for school social work, we're going after accreditation, and this is part of our process. So
Sure.
this is definitely interesting.
So that would be helpful for,
We're
yeah.
putting together, so all of our key courses will be reporting things via their rubrics, and we've been in a big conversation. It's been like, how do we get that information? And
Sure.
and we've been like, paper and PDFs, and how do we so.
Awesome. Yeah, so outcomes are great for things like accreditation and when you need to collect big amounts of data. So I'm going to talk about outcomes today, how do you create and measure them, and then how you can see them in a course. And finally, these things that we're going to talk about today, rubrics and outcomes, they can be shared among a department or school, like the School of Social Work or the School of Nursing. Like you can have them shared amongst everyone who's in that account. So you can use common rubrics and common outcomes. And you can also have a customized grading scheme, which is probably important for the different schools. All right, using and creating rubrics. So when we go in to create a rubric, you can be in your records instance, so you'd be in the red one. Is that helpful when I tell you which one to be in? Okay, we're going to work in red. All right. So when I go into a course, and I'm going to go into my training course, which is mostly empty right now, where do I create a rubric? So you guys have been places before where we were able to create rubrics. What's one of the places we can create a rubric? Assignments. So why don't you go into any one of your assignments. So once you go into an assignment, you see this button at the bottom that says Add Rubric. So you're going to see this in assignments. You also can add a rubric to a discussion. It lives in a different place. I will show you where that is in a minute. If we click on Add Rubric, you're just going to get this box. Now, we looked a little bit at this the other day. We're going to go a little bit deeper with it today. So here are some of the things that you get when you're in here. And before I even start, I will tell you, I always get the question, can I import rubrics? And the answer is no, but you can copy and paste. But here's the good news. Once you build a rubric one time, it's always going to be in there. So if you have a rubric that you always use for grading essays, you only have to put it in one time, and then you'll be able to click Find the next time, and it's going to be there for you. All right, so you have to give your rubric a title. So let's say this is my essay rubric. And then you can start building your rubric. So it always is going to end up looking like this to start, with just one criteria and 2 ratings. You see that as soon as I click on the arrow that's between the 2 ratings that's there, I get this double-headed arrow. And that's how I'm able to add more ratings areas. So you can have as many as you want for each criteria. So your criteria can have different sets of ratings too. So it doesn't have to all equal the same. You see, as I'm hovering over the criteria, I'm getting the pencil. So I know that here is where I can say what my first criteria would be. So what's one area of criteria that we would want to build for an essay rubric? Anybody throw something out.
Writing is clear, and no grammatical errors.
Critical thinking is evident.
Okay, so we have 2 criteria so far. And then you're able to edit each one of the ratings. Like I said, you can have 3, 4, 10, however many you want. So you can have whatever scale you want. It's just going to come in with full and no marks, but maybe you're using an exceptional to, missing whatever it is. And then you can, sometimes you might want to give more detail in here. So this could be a paragraph long if you wanted to write out exactly what the students need to do. So that's how you build it all out. It should be adding up these points for you, but you can adjust them.
So we would put the point parameters,
Yes.
let's say under the first criteria, all the way to the left-hand side, so that students would know.
They're going to know.
No, or under each of the, see where you just put 10 points?
Yes.
Full marks. So, well, if it's full marks, that would be 10. But let's go to the next one. It would be 9 to 7 if we're giving it some sort of range.
Yeah, so that
Because
is...
my essay questions are worth 40, 50 points.
I know. So that's the only thing you can't do here is a range. So you can't put 9 to 7.
Right, but
So
we
you
need
put-
to tell the student that that it goes from 9 to 7. We don't have to.
Here?
We have to choose one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but somewhere we have to tell them that there's a range.
So you could put it in the description.
In the
and leave it
description.
at the highest or at the midpoint.
Sure, and then
And
just
then
give it a
change
and then
Right.
change that. Sure,
So you could leave it at an 8.
absolutely.
Type 7 to 9 in the description.
So you can say that 8 is and then you can put that in the description.
Up there.
Yep,
That's all I was asking.
9 to 7. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you, for this whole criteria, let's say that this criteria, I'm going to change it to be 15 points. Once I do that, it's going to calculate out kind of a scale for me in there. So that changed all of those
Oh, really?
numbers. Yeah, that's what it did. Yeah, from full to no. You can go back in and edit it though, but just to let you know, if you change this point value, watch, I'll change it to 20. And that's going to kind of scale it out depending on how many different ratings I have in there. Okay. So, you can make a really robust rubric in here, adding as many criteria and ratings as you want. And then you get some options down here. So if you check, I'll write free-form comments when assessing students. That took out all of my ratings, all right? So instead of, it's just going to give me my criteria over here, but not any of the rating descriptors. So that's what that first one does. If you check, use this rubric for assignment grading, it's going to be available to you when you go into SpeedGrader to grade this paper. So you'll see it, you'll be able to click on, like you did this morning when you were doing the peer review, just clicked on the rating you wanted to give it, and that will be able to be used for when you're scoring students.
And you said that goes directly to SpeedGrader?
Yep, it's going to show up in SpeedGrader. All right, so once you have a rubric created, and you click Create Rubric, if you messed up any of the points, so it's going to let you know, Aaron, you said this wasn't worth enough points. Okay. When this assignment is published for students, they will see, like you've seen before, doing assignments in my training class, you see the rubric. So it's never any question, like, what am I going to be assessed on? The rubric will show up right there for you. One of the options I had that I can add in for my rubric is I can also add an outcome to this assignment. So if I have outcomes in my account, I'm able to also attach that to a rubric. And then I can assess students both on the rubric and I can also give them an outcome. We're going to get to outcomes next though. So go ahead and play around with the rubric. In your assignment, click on that Add Rubric button. And include 3 criteria and 4 ratings. So just play around with that so you get the feel for what does that feel like to create a rubric. Once you do have that rubric created, that will always be in your account. So that's the good news. It's never going to go away. I have other rubrics in this environment. And they're always going to be accessible to me in there. So take some time to build rubrics.